Is it working? Let's see. Hello there. Welcome to the Force Collective. I am back. We are back.
Yay!
After about a good 2 weeks of things going crazy, we are back. So
real
today,
life is hard.
Yes, real life, it does things to people. It's still doing things to people. But that's besides the point. We're actually here to talk about the Bad Batch season, like the complete season, and give our overall thoughts over this entire season. I feel like we've sort of done this, but we haven't actually done it. So, I mean, most of our thoughts will probably be about the same as usual when it comes to this kind of thing. But I still want to discuss it. And I actually have more material to talk about besides that, but we'll get into that later. Anyways, I'm here with Chrono, Commander Tano, and Sir AOA. We are all back, and we're going to have some fun today. So we'll go ahead and just start with what our thoughts are on the Bad Batch Season 1.
You're forgetting something, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, I'm forgetting something, ain't I? Well, I think that's sort of my cue to let the sponsor take over. So, Sir AOA.
Today's sponsor for the Force Collective is Kajik Haircare. Who better to help you with your hair care needs than the Wookiees? They're covered in hair, and it's completely not free. That's because they have been using the bounties of the forest for years, and now you can too. Try their styling product like Captain Hauser. After applying it to your hair, no amount of helmet use will ruin your photo shoot ready hair. For anyone that wants to shake it up with a new hair color, try their hair dyes like the Min Red.
Oh gosh, I almost broke you. I was hoping that I would have with that, but I didn't.
Bright, vibrant, and long-lasting. Also good in paints. Let the big walking carpets help you take care of your hair with Kajik Haircare. Sold at your nearest tree. Now, Shade, I am a professional. There's no way you can break me. Now, back to you.
You know what? That's a challenge, isn't it? That's a challenge. Every time you do these ads now, I'm going to find a way to break you.
Oh, God. What am I going to do?
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'll remember that. Okay, so.
I really should add this before we continue.
Okay.
I'd like to thank everyone who voted. It was very close, mainly because very few people voted. But as you heard, Kajik Haircare came out on top, followed by a draw, which was Tatooine Skincare and Kaminoan Wet and Wild Water Park. And in fourth place was Croissant Colored Milk. And there wasn't fifth, sixth, or seventh because, well, no one voted more than that. So.
Well, that's okay. I think we'll have to figure out how to get that out there a little more because we need to get these people like coming to our polls and doing them. You know, it would make things a little more interesting.
Well, it was the first one, so I mean, you know, you can't always expect the first one to go absolutely off the rails.
True.
But But lessons have been learned, and we will do it better next time.
Okay. With that, we're going to go ahead and talk about season 1 of The Bad Batch. So, I did get some references to Heir of the Empire with the end of The Bad Batch. I've been reading it recently, which is the new material that I was talking about. I haven't finished it, so I don't know what happens at the end. But I've begun to realize a lot of references to that stuff. It's not even just in The Bad Batch; it was also in Star Wars Rebels. But I feel like reading Legends is essential at this point now because they keep bringing stuff from that. And if you don't read Legends, it's going to feel like something brand new, but it's actually not. It comes from the actual good continuity of Star Wars as opposed to what's going on now. So if you haven't read Heir to the Empire, I would recommend it because a lot of people are saying at the end of the season they teased Wayland. I think they already had Mount Tantus in a previous episode. So I'm thinking that what we saw at the end was Wayland. And from what little I know of Wayland, it's like a storehouse. Well, it's not exactly a storehouse, but I'm sure that we'll end up seeing like a Dark Jedi being added into this at some point. Like they keep pulling from Heir to the Empire. So I'm not going to spoil anything if anybody else hasn't read Heir to the Empire. Just read it; it's really good. And anyways, so initial thoughts. We're going to go ahead and start with you, Sir Away.
Well, the best way I could put it is that even though we were doing a seasonal review, I could not make myself rewatch the season. Now, everyone might think that would mean that I think it was bad. And the simple answer is no, actually, I don't. But it does feel, I guess you could say that it hasn't exactly drawn me in enough to sort of want to watch it for a second time. Even to sort of have it just in the background type of situation. It very much feels sort of like The Mandalorian, but for the Clone Wars type situation.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the Clone Wars, the Bad Batch has something that the Mandalorian doesn't, and that's the Empire at its full height.
Mm-hmm.
So I should have felt like there was a big threat on the horizon, and I just didn't have that feeling. It was almost sort of like when the Bad Batch and the Empire interacted, it was like, oh, oops, I just stepped on your toe type of situation. It all felt accidental rather than the Empire plotting to try and get them back. Which kind of, it kind of works for something like The Mandalorian when the Empire isn't at its full power or in power.
Yeah.
Where, you can have those incidental sort of, oops, didn't mean to do that. But when you could almost say that it really felt lacking of a big bad. Which, like I said, works for the Mandalorian. It doesn't really work for the Bad Batch, especially seeing how important the Bad Batch is meant to be, because they don't because they sort of don't have that looming threat. It kind of also doesn't make them feel as important. And yet again, I could be eating these words at the end of next season. But that's just what the first season has sort of made me feel. It all felt really inconsequential, except for the creation of a new water park. But yeah, it kind of didn't. It all just felt like a sideshow, I guess you could say, not the main show.
I get that.
That's probably everything that I can sort of say.
Well, I don't disagree. I mean, I feel like I could watch it like multiple times. It just sort of depends on I guess the mood I'm in. But I enjoyed most of it.
You know that watching the Hauser eps tens of thousands of times doesn't count as rewatching the whole show, right?
Look, you don't have to tell everybody. You don't have to tell them that. For all they know, I watched the whole thing multiple times.
Oh yeah, you did watch it multiple times. You just happened to watch the Hauser episode multiple times. because we all know what you voted for in that poll.
Nah. I voted for the water park. I don't know what you're talking about. I clearly did not go for the Kajik Haircare. Not in the least.
I actually bought that one precisely because I thought if I didn't, I wouldn't be on the stream.
That's a good point right there, you know? Might not have been. Anyways. So, I don't want to tell my thoughts just yet. I'll go last. So, let's see. I'm going to pick between the two of you. You both start with the C, so I can't go in alphabetical order. Well, I can because O comes before R, so am I right? Yeah. Yes, I'm right. Okay. I know my alphabet, I promise. Shut up. Don't laugh. I don't know who that was. Who was that? No, actually, I don't want to know. Commander Tano, you go ahead. I think I killed her. Oh, no.
Okay.
You don't have any T, Commander Tano,
I did.
right?
See, I thought because Soraya was kind of like, because you were kind of feeling a little drained today. I thought, it would be safe to make tea, and then yeah.
I pick up the slack when he's tired.
Yes, you do. So, okay. So thoughts. I feel. I don't know if this metaphor makes sense, but I kind of. So number one, like, would I watch the season again? Yes, definitely. And I also, just as an aside, it has been an excellent Clone Wars gateway drug for my mother, who claimed that she didn't like the Clone Wars and wasn't interested. And then my sister was like, well, hey, but these characters are in these episodes in the Clone Wars. And so apparently she's watched them, and I don't know, it may lead to other things. But anyways, so would I watch that season again? Yeah. But, and I guess this is kind of a compliment in a way to that season. I kind of feel like where we're at now, it's like we're on this like precipice, or at like the very top of a mountain, and it's like it could, a gust of wind could like tip one forwards or backwards, kind of. And I'm really nervous about where things are going to go in the second season. So yeah, it's that the whole season has now just left me nervous and distraught. And I mean, and once again, that's a compliment because it's like means I'm invested, but also I don't like being distraught. I feel like, you know, I kind of, you know, I kind of worry that, you know, like you know, like in Clone Wars season 7, that whole arc with the Martez sisters, and there's this one episode where they basically Ahsoka and them escaped, and then they were just captured by the Pikes again. It was just kind of like it was like, and everyone watching that episode was understandably frustrated. It's like we're kind of back to where we started, pretty much. I don't
the
think.
wheels.
Yeah, I don't think that this season did that. I think it went somewhere, but I feel like it's in danger of being. I'm worried that like we're kind of in danger of any progress being kind of toppled back downhill, if that makes sense. And once again, it's like the fact that I'm, you know, kind of concerned or you know concerned about this says something about that. It's like I'm invested enough to, you know, kind of have those concerns, but yeah, you know, it's kind of I really really hope that I don't know, you know, what the timeline has been, you know, production wise for this series and how much, you know, how early they started writing the scripts for season 2 and finalizing stuff story wise, but and that's what may be frustrating is that a lot of feedback that's coming out regarding season 1 it's probably impossible to implement it in season 2, and so we're you know we kind of have to just cross our fingers and hope that, you know, certain areas or character development for certain characters, things like that happens. Yeah, so I would say like it's left me distraught, but that's, you know, at least it made me care enough to be distraught. That's where I'm at.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. I like that.
I gotta admit, I do kind of agree that I'm sort of in the same area type of situation. But yeah, yet again, it's just sort of, as I said earlier, nothing is making me want to sort of rush out and rewatch the season. So it's
Yeah, I'm worried that it's like I still have some hope that the whole thing will be resolved in a satisfactory manner, but I'm also kind of realizing it, you know, that could not happen, and then it's like and then I'm kind of like, you know, should I rewatch? Should I get myself more invested and then only to be disappointed? Yeah. We'll see. I'm hoping, you know, like, you know, I'm hoping season 2, I hope, you know, it kind of, I'm hoping that we get some more resolution to things and just more development of certain characters that have been kind of neglected.
The finale really sort of clipped any wings for the season. I think that's probably why we're sort of all feeling well. You and me, I don't know about Corona or Shade yet, but yeah, I think that finale really kind of just threw for a loop, and yet again, we could be eating our words next season.
And it's like I still have hope, and so I until season 2 comes out and either we get some satisfactory resolutions to things or not, I can still watch I can still watch the first season and be happy with that and be kind of have that hope at the back of my mind, and my headcanon is still basically intact. Season 1 didn't destroy my headcanon, so I'm good. But
Yeah.
I worry that it's going to, and it's kind of just like with back when the sequels came out, like when it was just The Force Awakens, and all that you had was just kind of and obviously if you didn't like that movie, then this comment doesn't really apply to you, but like if you were okay with that movie and okay with that ending where there's just possibility, you just saw Rey about to meet Luke and give him the lightsaber, you had no idea what was going to come after that. Like, that was a cliffhanger, but you could be kind of satisfied. That didn't hurt anyone's headcanon. Until other stuff came along afterwards. So I'm kind of in that state right now.
That is a good analogy.
Yep.
That's probably a good analogy even for me. It's sort of it does very much feel like I've just finished watching The Force Awakens for the first time and sort of like going, I like where I'm not an ecstatic jumping for joy friend, but at the exact same time, I'm actually looking forward to the next installment. And well, let's just hope that we don't have another Last Jedi.
Please, could you please give some characters happy endings? Could we just please do that? Like,
Can we
100%
please?
happy endings.
Nah, never mind. Let's not. Let's just do this. Or better yet, let's just do this to them. Is it working?
There it is, good old child murder.
Yeah. It has to come in somewhere.
Everything is made better by child murder. Oh wait, hang on, I
Exactly.
should have said that.
Oh man.
Everything is
Okay.
made better.
FBI, open up!
Hey, look. I do not regret anything, so I'm just gonna play it one more time because no regrets. They're just gonna have to deal with it. Okay. Is that all you have to say about that, or are we good to move on?
Yep, let's move. Yep.
Okay, Chrono, you got this. You got the floor. Don't get nervous. There's absolutely nobody watching right now, so you can say whatever you want.
No one just. No, I guess I really liked the whole season. I don't know if I would rewatch it, but honestly, that's not a good comparison point from me because I usually don't rewatch whatever I watch. So yeah, I think as a season it had strong points and only a bit of low points, but nothing major. The season finale was really unexpected. I mean, we were expecting something entirely different, and we got, like Sarayo puts it, season 2, episode 1.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad, but it really left us like devoid of a lot of expectations because it doesn't exactly set up anything other than the mountain thing. So yeah, I think what I appreciated most about this season was the relationship between the whole squad and Omega. I really enjoyed the whole little sister, big brothers relationship they had.
Yep.
and I also enjoyed the world building with the whole Empire thing. I think that's pretty much the real reason a lot of people watch it, because I hear a lot of comments of people that aren't exactly into the whole team. They're like, oh yeah, the guys are good, but what they really care for is the world building. And I think the show does a really good job with it. I actually think they could have done a bit more with it. And yes, I did say more.
Oh, yeah, that didn't kick in. I'm glad you reminded me. Here we go.
Can't go wrong with that one.
No, never.
So
Sorry,
yeah,
continue.
I think it was good enough, but it did lack the kind of excitement we got from shows like the Clone Wars, which is understandable because the Clone Wars had a lot more stuff going for them.
Yep.
And they relied too much on established characters that we already liked a lot, so they were kind of cheating in that aspect. So yeah, I think for a show that came out of nowhere after just a brief introduction in season 7 of the whole team, it did pretty good. I would really recommend it for people who still care for Star Wars stuff. And as Commander Tano says, it's really hard to imagine if season 2 is going to be as successful as this one, or if they are going to go off a cliff. We really don't know. I guess the one thing I really ask of season 2 is that they stop wasting the stuff that they set up, because what they did with Crosser and Omega in this season went nowhere, and I really didn't like that. I really wanted their arcs to evolve and to show us more about them.
Yeah.
And right now that's pretty much done for, because Omega, we already know Omega's secret, and nobody cared after the Kaminoans were taken out. And then Crosser told us that the chip isn't really there, and he's all about the Empire by himself. So it was really upsetting, because we had all these theories branching out, and they went for something so simple. I don't know. I just expect they do better with that in the future.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, honestly. I felt like they were trying to set something up with Crosshair and Omega, and it didn't go anywhere. So that is a little disappointing. I sort of didn't understand what she was saying to him. Like, she said, whatever you're thinking, don't do it, or whatever. And I'm just wondering, what does she mean by that? And then she mentioned it again at the end of the season, and I'm still a bit confused. Maybe you guys know. Maybe I'm just the one that's confused. I feel like that they didn't explain that well enough. But on to my thoughts, and then we can probably talk about that particular scene, because I still wonder about that. But my thoughts. So, oh wait, you were done, Chrono, right? I didn't want to step on your toes.
No, I was done with it.
Okay, so I liked it a lot. I would go back and rewatch it, and I do like what you said about or the analogy you made. It does give me that sort of feel that episode 7 did when when it ended like that, and you're sort of just hopeful because you want to know what else happens afterward. It's got you thinking, what are they setting up? Because they introduced possibly Wayland at the end, and like I said, I've been reading Heir to the Empire, so now I'm very interested in that particular mountain because they've been mentioning it a lot in Heir to the Empire. I think they even go to it once, but I haven't gotten. I'm only halfway through the book, so I don't know. But anyways, so as far as the entire season, though, I would rewatch it. I would change some things about it if I was in control, but I do realize that this is just the first season. And if it's a lot like the movies, because George Lucas had like this thing where he started off the first movie sort of being a slower movie compared to the rest of them. So episode 1 was, slow. Episode 2 sort of ramped it up a little bit, even though it had certain scenes like I hate sand. and episode 3 was just like the climax of the entire trilogy. And that goes the same for the original trilogy. Episode 4 was slow, but it was setting up things for the future. Then episode 5, I think it was almost closer to being a climax to the trilogy than episode 6 was. Episode 6 felt more like a resolution. But yeah, that's sort of the idea I've got going for this is like they start off slow and then they sort of speed it up with each season. They'll have to slow it down, of course, because you don't want to go too fast and keep it there. You got to give people time to breathe, and there wouldn't be time for world building if they just kept up with the action every single episode. So I do like slow episodes every once in a while, but I do complain about the placement of these slower episodes, like the one with Roland Durand, the horned dude. I can't remember what. Oh, it was about the spice that they lost and all that stuff. That was right before the last. That was right after the episode where they had just came from. I think it was Mount Tantus or whatever. I think that's what it was called. I may be wrong. But yeah, no, they have like I think they had a problem with placing like episode placement, in my opinion. But besides that, I like it. I would rewatch it, and I look forward to seeing what else is to come. Because I know they're going to pull more from Legends, and I'm very excited for that. I've been getting really into Legends lately. You don't want to see my bookshelf, by the way. I trust me, I've actually bought a lot of books lately, and I'm going to be reading them. But that's besides the point. I'm really excited for next season. I think next season is going to sort of put things in to the next level. I'm hoping anyway, and hopefully, like you said, Chrono, they don't waste things that they set up. They actually sort of give you a resolution to them. But besides that, yeah, that's what I think.
You forgot to mention that you're looking forward to more Hauser.
Hey, they better give me resolution to him. They better give me some sort of closure. They either better tell me he's dead, or they better bring him back in an episode and have him working with the Bad Batch. If they don't, I'm going to be mad.
No, I don't really want him dead. I
don't
want,
either,
if he's going to die, he should do it like in a incredibly epic way, because no, that's not fair. He's been in 2 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, I personally just want closure on the situation. I'd like to know what's going on. If they kill him, I'll be sad. Like I will be. I want him to actually be in episodes doing something. But I feel like they can set up that clone rebellion using these kinds of clones. And yes, I'm talking more about the clone rebellion because I love it. But I feel like they can set up a scenario with that if like, let's say Rex breaks Hauser out after hearing about Hauser from the Bad Batch. Let's say that because, the Bad Batch were there when he did that. So they know that he didn't stay with the Empire. He betrayed the Empire. And some of his men did as well. So I think that they can really pull off a clone rebellion if they sort of, set up for it using situations like that. I mean, Gregor also defected from the Empire. And, of course, we know where he ends up. But, Hauser is one character I really do want to see again. So here's to hoping that they bring him back in season 2. I think that's what I'll look forward to the most. All right. Huh?
Shocker.
Oh, you're not surprised? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
I'm very predictable, I guess. Does anybody else have anything else to say about this before we move on?
Nope.
Okay, so I just want to get clarity. Now, I may be dumb. I don't know. I want clarity on what Omega was meaning in that episode when she talked to Crosshair, and then Now, I may have missed something in the last episode. I didn't go back and rewatch yet. Well, as to why everybody should know, but I just wonder, what did she mean? Like, whatever you're thinking, don't do it. Because, like, of course, if she was talking about going with the Empire, he had no choice in the beginning. They pulled him out of that cell and they made him get his chip enhanced, and it, did its thing to his brain. But in the end, she says, "Remember what I told you in the brig, or whatever. Whatever you're about to do, don't do it," or something like that. She reminds him of that. So, do you guys have any idea of what is going on there? I may be dumb, like I said, so I might miss something. You guys might not have.
I think it's just kind of a general don't be. It's just kind of a generic don't kill your friends, don't be evil, don't do chip things that the chip wants you to do kind of thing.
Be an ass.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's what I was sort of getting out of it, but I just wondered if there was something deeper that I was missing. I didn't know if any of you picked up on something that I didn't.
Sometimes they make Omega talk like in a semi-cryptic manner, like she might know
It's
more
true.
than she lets on. But I don't know if they're doing that just to tease us, or if it's actually going somewhere.
Well, the thing is, like, stuff like that scene right there sort of sets up a relationship between the two of them that could have been really cool if they expanded on it a little more. Now, maybe I'm the only one that feels that way. I don't know. But I feel like they could have done something, because it seemed like she cared a lot for Crosshair in particular at that moment. And Crosshair seems to be a lot less closed off when she's around. Only when she's around. He seemed to, like, shut everybody else out, but when she came over to talk to him, he's like, go away, but he didn't walk away himself. He listened to her and he gave her that look, like, how did he do that? I mean, he looked at, he didn't give her like a disgusted look when she said that. He just sort of looked at her, didn't do what he did with Hunter or anything like that. I feel like he had a soft spot for her, which is why in the end he did not want to kill her. He wanted to have her sent off somewhere. So,
Well, there's also the fact that how do you say this? That she told everyone that she was there when they were created, and that she's a bit older than them, and that she was really happy that they were created. She looked up to them. So maybe something happened specifically with Crosser during that time, and we still don't know. That could be a possibility.
You know what? Let me bring up that point that you just made right there. Well, a point that you made. The fact that she's older and was there with their creation. Some people actually did not like that. I don't know why. I feel like that's actually pretty interesting that she's a pure clone that hadn't been altered for the most part, as far as like age acceleration and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't see why there would be any cause for outrage there, but I did see some people.
I think the outrage came from, how could she be an unaltered clone when Jango Fett was male and she is female?
True.
And because I mean the thing is that our cloning technology is, you wouldn't be able to do it with our version of cloning technology at this present moment. But the thing is that with the way the episode was written when that was sort of came out, it was just a really sort of awkward revelation. That kind of didn't really fit too well, and it kind of did feel, I wouldn't say Mary Sue-ish, but sort of in that vein.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she's an older clone possibly sort of increases that Mary Suishness or that similar vein. So that's probably where that more comes from. But I'm just gonna have to say, I need to go, guys. I'm sorry, I can't stick around.
Oh, it's okay.
So with that point, I will leave you with it.
All right.
I hope everyone has fun. I hope everyone has fun, and I will make sure I'm more available next stream.
All righty. Have a good one then, Sir Anyway. Thank you for joining.
No worries.
Yeah.
Catch you later, everyone.
Get some rest.
Oh, yes, and if anyone has any ideas for any sponsorships, just give me a yell.
Okay, will do.
Okay.
Yes. Hey, one thing real quick. If you haven't read, you remember the thing you kept asking me about the other day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I put a PDF in the Discord.
Yep,
Read
I
that
read
and
it.
tell me what you... Oh, you did read it? Okay. Okay, tell me what you think later. I'll let you go right now.
Yep. Okay. Catch everyone later.
See ya.
Later.
Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, there was actually something that I found, and I put it in the Discord telling everybody that it gave me cancer. I mean, I don't actually have cancer, of course, but this is how dumb this whole thing is. So I just wanted to bring this to light. I didn't feel like quote tweeting it because I just didn't feel like dealing with all the crazies that would respond. But you got to be crazy to agree with this. Okay.
You do realize you're going to get canceled over this, right?
Not if I do this. That's my cancel deterrent.
Also,
That's
it's like
my
he's
safeguard.
already said everything. Like what? Everything's better with child murder or something, or there's something. I think crossed the cancellation threshold.
Look,
Lots of times.
if this doesn't get me canceled, the other one will anyway. Okay. So, I just wanted to mention that the two people that's in this conversation right here, if you see my mouse going from each of them, these people are crazy because I'm going to read some of this stuff right here. This first one, not so much. I'm just going to read what's down this way, but they wanted it muted for a reason, and there's a good reason why, because they don't want anybody responding, and I think, that they're scared. So this is one of the things right here that really got me. They said, how could she fly ships and repair the Falcon? That they were, of course, doing that sarcastically to make fun of people that asked that question. This guy says that she has been scavenging ship parts to stay alive for, let's say, 15 years. I think she has an engineering experience. How can she fight, duh? She is on a planet of scavengers who steals. She has been fighting for 15 years. Okay, maybe the fighting thing might be okay. Like, she might have learned how to fight with a stick, But when it comes to scavenging ship parts, that doesn't teach you how to fly a ship, first of all. Second of all, like, even if she did fight for years, let me, let me bring up a really good point real quick. You remember the episode of Rebels, and I think it was season 3, where Kanan was teaching Sabine how to use the Darksaber.
Yeah.
She's a Mandalorian. She's been fighting since she was born, practically. And she couldn't use a lightsaber hardly at all. She had to depend on some of her other gadgets to beat Ezra. in the first place. And then when she came to Kanan, she couldn't beat him. She couldn't. He just taunted her and showed her who was boss. Now, eventually she was able to overcome it, but she lost her first fight with the lightsaber. She lost many fights with Ezra with the training sabers. How is she different than Rey? Rey shouldn't be able to do that. I mean, she's been fighting all her life, apparently, from people who steal on a junk planet. Okay, just wanted to get that out of my system there for a second. Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay, so I'm going to move on down here. By the way, if you can tell, only people they want can reply, which is dumb. This person's like, exactly. So let's see. How is she so good at using the Force? Luke struggled. Now this one also gets on my nerve. Luke was a scared farm boy who never had to fend for himself. Okay, that one right there, that's already got me mad. Rey's been in the business of turning anything and everything into an advantage for survival since she was like 8. Let's see. Yoda never said using the Force was hard. It is hard. Otherwise, everybody would be using. Oh wait, never mind. This is Disney. Forget that. Training to. But he expected Luke to just deadlift an entire X-wing with no practice, and when confronted about it, he told us all we need to know. I don't believe it. This is why you fail. This stuff is really just okay. So let's see. There's more replies than that. If it'll ever load. I got like the worst internet. Okay. Here we go. That's the key difference between Rey and Luke. Luke had a very sheltered life with Owen and Beru, keeping secrets about his father. Okay, that makes no sense. You also had Obi-Wan keeping him safe from afar. Not always. Luke wanted to stay in this life. No, he did not. He wanted to go to the Tashi station to pick up some power converters. Okay? Not only that, but he wanted to go to the academy. He wanted away from Tatooine.
Hated the farm life. He told his uncle that he wanted something more than that.
Exactly. They also say Rey had to fight for herself and believed the stories. Did Luke not believe the stories? When did he ever say that he didn't believe the stories?
He never once questioned anything Obi-Wan told him. He was super excited to go on an adventure. He didn't even hesitate to think, oh, I might die. He didn't care.
No, he wanted to save the princess, first of all, when he found out that she was locked up on the Death Star. He's like, yeah, I want to go save her. She'll probably reward you for helping her. He tried his best to get everybody to help him save her. He was eager and ready to save the damsel in distress. Not only that, but he was wanting to stick it to the Empire. I mean, that's what the academy that he wanted to join was anyways. It was an academy, I guess, to I forgot how that went. It was in a deleted scene. But Biggs and Wedge went to an academy, and that's where they, I guess, learned how to fly and fight and all that stuff. Now I could be getting this part messed up on my own.
Yeah, if he had gone to the academy and not met Obi-Wan, he probably would have been a part of the squadron. I mean, yeah, he wanted to do that. He wanted to fly.
Exactly. So the fact that they act like that he didn't want out of his I guess cushy life. Cushy, I don't know if that's a word, but I guess you get what I mean. It's just stupid. Anakin was like 10 and was able to fly in the Naboo starfighter. He literally had only ever done pod racing before. How can people complain about Rey being a Mary Sue when Anakin just exists? Problem with that is Anakin is the chosen one. Pod racing is almost like flying. There's not much of a difference. You're levitating in the air, and the controls are probably very much similar. Rey had never flown a ship before, much less a ship like the Millennium Falcon, which usually takes at the very least 2 people to fly it, at the most 4 people. And I mean, Han and Chewie, they both flew it, and they did the job of 4 people, because you like whenever they go to try to set the jump for light speed and stuff like that, Han has to get out of his seat, go like to the back of the cockpit, start setting things in the nav computer, and then get back in his seat and navigate everything. So they're really doing the job of 4 people. How in the world is Rey doing the job of 4 people by herself? Like on
Also,
her first try.
Anakin had R2 with him, so
Yeah.
he's like the best droid companion you can have, helping you fly the ship.
Mhm.
How could he not fly it?
Exactly. Now, the thing is, though, it was on autopilot almost the entirety of the space battle. The only time he got taken off of autopilot is when R2 finally took it off, and he got shot immediately after he started doing the spinning trick, and he flew straight into the Separatist, control ship and crashed in there. Now, eventually, he was able to get the ship to work again because it had overheated, and started just pushing buttons randomly. Now, the thing is, if that were Rey, she would have meant to do that. Anakin did not mean to do what he did. So
No.
he just sort of blew it up by accident. And, due to the fact that he has pod raced, he does have that kind of reaction time that he needs to, first of all, fly a starfighter. Not to mention that he sort of has a feel for how to control a vehicle going at a high speed and, sort of flying, above the ground. Because, pod racers don't drag across the ground. They're not land vehicles, exactly.
Jedi reflexes. I mean, how can he not do it? He has Jedi reflexes.
Exactly. It wasn't this weird force ability that they tried to add into Star Wars, I think through the High Republic, where it's like it's a force ability being able to fix things or be good with technology or something like that. I'm pretty sure you remember what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that whole thing, like this whole thread, I felt like needed to be discussed because these people, you can tell, don't know anything about Star Wars. Anakin is the chosen one. I've always felt out of everyone, he was probably the most powerful Jedi until Luke went on Crate, which tales were told of, as Broom Kid showed us. Luke was, after Anakin, Luke was the most powerful Jedi. Anakin in his prime was the most powerful until he fell to the dark side. He was probably the most powerful dark side user. But as far as Jedi go, like Luke lived longer than as a Jedi than Anakin. Anakin died as a Jedi, but he was a Sith for like half his life. Luke had time to train between episode 6 and episode 7, but it just turns out that he ends up being a hermit. So I doubt that he was as powerful as Anakin was in his prime, because, if you're going to go hide for like 30 years, well, probably not 30 years, but if you're going to go hide for like 15 or so years and cut yourself off from the Force, you can't probably be that powerful anymore. Like, you can't just go and Force project your whole body and then die right afterward and be the most powerful thing ever. Then again, I'm being very critical. Let's see. Is there anything else? It's just really hilarious how people thought that she was a Mary Sue when the first film establishes why she's good at certain things. They didn't establish anything. They didn't tell us anything about Rey. We didn't know. All we knew is that she can use the Force. Like, she knew how to mind trick people, I guess, because if they want to just, they could say that she heard stories about it. Though the technique you would have to probably learn yourself, but apparently she didn't have to. And Snoke easily beat her, so how can she? And she also failed to turn Kylo, so how can she be a Mary Sue? Oh, two failures out of how many successes that shouldn't have happened? Look, I'm just being I think I'm being very hostile with it, but at the same time, this whole thread has been burning me up lately because like the amount of fallacies in it just really get on my nerve. Okay, so what do you guys think?
It's like I feel like, you know, and you know, I can definitely say like some things I've right, like, yeah, you know, if you're raised the way she's raised, that you may have some skills that other people typically don't have. That said, I almost feel like the fact that you have debates like this kind of says that the storytellers really did fail, you know, in terms of justifying these skills that she supposedly has.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, we wouldn't be in this situation where we have to talk about this if they had done a better job. Let's see. Let's see. There's not like a whole lot to talk about on this besides that. I think I sort of got my point across, but I really wanted to mention it because, you know, especially when they talk about how Luke didn't want to lead the life they had, and that somehow Rey is superior due to the fact that she's been on her own since like 8 years old. I mean, I don't know. It really got on my nerve.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
these people don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and it's like what I think is kind of irritating is like it is that it isn't just that it isn't necessarily the kind of the need to defend or justify Rey having X abilities. It's like there seems to be this further need to like say to kind of I was going to use some to kind of I'm trying to think of a word that isn't an expletive, but to kind of, you know, kind of some word for I can only speak Australian at the moment. I need some need to kind of just kind of not look down on, but you know what I mean, to kind of just dump on some other character. There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point, thanks to Lucasfilm, for some of these people, dunking on Luke is kind of a sport. I mean, everyone wants to say that Luke was nothing special and that he did nothing. And that, I mean, why? Why would you do that? I mean, we don't like the sequel trilogy, and we don't go telling them in the forums every third or every other day that their characters are shit. We don't do that. Why would they do that with the other characters? I mean, you have some sort of.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah. I mean, why do you feel the need to justify Rey or to dunk on Luke? I mean, if you like Rey, that's okay. I mean, we have said it here. That Rey had a lot of potential. They just didn't really go for it, and we got what we got. But I don't really understand why these people need to validate their points in front of us. I mean, I don't really care what they think. I mean, I think about what I like or don't like. I don't have to. I don't need Twitter or Facebook or whatever to agree with my own take. I mean, I just don't understand why they would do this. And the mental gymnastics are incredible because you try to put stuff there that is not real. I mean, they have to know that this isn't real. They just do it because they feel like if they say it and a lot of people back them up, it might become real, and that's not the case.
Yeah. See, I don't have an issue with Rey herself. I have an issue with what they did with her. And, I've always said, I mean, even though I dislike the sequel trilogy greatly, you can like what you like. It doesn't matter to me. If you like the sequel trilogy, that's fine. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, since she said it, I guess it's true. But in all seriousness, like
You can, yes.
you can like what you want to like it, but don't act like there isn't mistakes. Now I get it. When the prequels came out, and I'm not one of these people that hated on the prequels. I love the prequels, but some of these people hated on the prequels, and now they're loving on the prequels and hating on the sequels. And some people would consider them to be hypocrites, and in a way, I guess they would be. But then again, they could just be people that's woken up and thought, I guess we didn't know how blessed we really were with these movies until we got this. Now, some people may feel that way too, which I always loved, like the original 6. I was always saying, like, they're all Star Wars. But the thing is, it's hard to say that now, and that might make me sound like a hypocrite because that's how I used to feel about it. But when they change it so much, it really don't feel like it. Yeah, they got the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, they brought back Han, Chewie, Leia, Luke. But what they did to them doesn't feel like something that you would have seen in Star Wars. Like, Episode 6 felt like a happy ending. Then we get to Episode 7 where Han and Leia are split up. Luke is an old hermit hiding on an island somewhere to die. The Empire has basically come back somehow with a new dark side using leader. And the New Republic gets blown up after 30 years, of being around. It probably took a few years to establish it. So the New Republic literally just died out. No fight. Some big Star Killer base that is basically a Death Star 2.0 with 5 beams instead of just one going to one planet. And it's worthless because once the sun is gone, it's literally just a planet that's destroyed the entire system of planets that it's on. And then they'll have to, like, all the work they put into turning an entire planet into a super weapon will be for nothing because all the planets will just be dead. Like, once the sun is gone, it just sends a whole new ice age on those planets, and it's just a big ball of ice and darkness. There's no light. Like, I don't know where the science came or who came up with that stuff. I'm very bugged about that, particularly if you haven't noticed. I'm very bugged about that. Like, the sun-powered superweapon planet.
It's just like everything. It's the Death Star, but bigger, or Snoke's ship. Or Snoke. It's the Emperor, but bigger. It seems that.
Yeah. Vibes from that. Yeah.
It seems that that's like kind of like. And it's what's really what is frustrating is that, especially when you actually watch The Force Awakens and you like, they're clearly aware that that's what they're doing. That's all they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You get some little quips by Han Solo about the size, that he's basically saying in the movie it's the Death Star but bigger. It's like they know better, but.
The thing is, though, they tried to play it off like it was different. One person's like, it's just another Death Star. And they're like, no, it's bigger. And it's a planet that uses the power of the sun.
Yeah, it's like the TIE silencer. I mean, yeah, it's a cool looking ship, but it's the same as Vader having a different TIE fighter from the regulars. I mean, you did nothing new here.
Exactly. And I mean, let's not get into what they did in Episode 9. Like, first of all, it was, at least in original canon that I guess the explosion was so big and all that stuff that it vaporized all the parts of the Death Star, which is, which is why you don't see debris in when it explodes in the movie. I guess they had to explain it somehow. Because, I guess realistically, an explosion like that would have probably left debris, but, it's whatever. But there was originally no debris. Now, I might sound like I'm nitpicking, and maybe I am because this stuff sort of bugs me. But a huge chunk of the Death Star that you would have probably seen floating around in space after its explosion happened to be on a planet near Endor, even though Endor was the planet that it was, sort of hanging around. Well, it's more of a moon. And you don't see it. You don't see this. I hate that they brought. I mean, look how intact that the little mirror room is, and how intact the Emperor's throne room is. Like the throne is still there. After an explosion of the magnitude that we've seen in the movie, and no debris being anywhere, you just think that nothing survived that. And well, apparently it did. I'm nitpicking at this point, but I have to get my point across that these movies aren't perfect, and these people that are on here, like the ones I showed you, are trying to defend them as if they are, and that's the problem. Like I was saying earlier, I think this is the point I was trying to make. You can like what you like, but don't defend it as if it's 100% perfection, and you can't tell me otherwise, because. Now, I'll defend the prequels. I know that there's mistakes with them, though, and I make fun of those mistakes. I love making fun of those mistakes. They're funny. Or even just the bad parts of it, like I hate sand, one of the worst lines, but the most memeable one. So, I acknowledge its shortcomings, but I love the movie at the same time. What's wrong with finding the mistakes and either loving it for it or bashing it for it? I mean, if you bash it, at least do it in a constructive way. But don't act like it's perfect. Don't act like you have to. I mean, the fact that they feel like they have to justify it means they know there's something wrong, and they're trying their best to justify it for either themselves or for other people to hopefully give themselves what's the word?
I guess it's all about validation, because
Validation, that's it.
They really need to feel like what they like is cool, is good, is okay. Because if they don't, it's like, oh no, I cannot be liking something that is not cool. I mean, why? You are supposed to like things because they resonate with you, not because everyone else likes them. I mean, I always put this example when we talk about this stuff with my friends. I am probably one of the 2 or 3 people in the world that like Waterworld, Kevin Costner's movie. Mm-hmm. And I know the movie has tons of issues, and it's probably a shitty movie, but I like it. I don't need the whole world to like it. I don't need the Academy Awards to acknowledge its genius. I don't care. I like the movie because I like it. It doesn't matter if the movie is good or not. The fact is that movie did something for me. That's how it works. If they are fans of Rey or the sequel trilogy, it's perfect. No one hates them for that. But why is this need to tell the whole world, hey, no, if you don't like it, you are wrong. You have to like it because we do. That's just not how it works.
No. That's not how the Force works.
Well, they wouldn't know because they keep creating these weird Force powers.
Hyperspace tripping is my favorite one.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's literally just like being on drugs. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about Heir to the Empire, just a little bit. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody that hasn't read it, but I'm going to mention a few things here that would make more sense when it comes to Force powers. They add some stuff about the Force that you didn't see in the movies, of course. Like, let's say, meditation while you're in hyperspace, which would invalidate the hyperspace tripping junk that they've got. So This is sort of how I like to counter it. So when Luke goes into light speed multiple times, or even has to wait for a while, if let's say his ship is messed up or something like that, if he's having to stay in one place for a while, especially if he's in his ship, which is sort of a thing that Jedi tend to do anyway, they go into this meditation state. They meditate while they're either doing nothing for long periods of time, or if they're in light speed and it takes a couple days to get to this place or that place, or hours. It could be hours too. So Luke does this a lot in the book. He goes into a meditative state during the times that he goes into light speed, or if he's having to wait for a little while. And you don't dream during that. Now, the whole premise of hyperspace tripping is that going into light speed, for some reason, gives you visions of the Force. Now, it's more like just being on drugs and hallucinating and seeing a bunch of pretty colors, because, light speed is full of pretty colors. But, they're trying to come up with something, I guess. But I feel like that sort of takes away from stuff like that. Now, I may not have brought this about in the best way. I'm trying to think of a way to sort of talk about this, because I really wanted to talk about that specifically, because hyperspace tripping, the name of it already, I just can't stand it. What are they tripping on? Did they take some drug that enhances their force abilities or something like that, and they just start tripping, as in being high? I don't know. It's stupid. They keep adding these weird force powers that make no sense. I already mentioned the one about how it's a force ability to be super good with technology or whatever. Stuff like that just don't make sense. You don't have to explain everything using a force power. That's sort of the point I'm making. You got something to say, Commander Tom?
I agree. It is it's just kind of silly. It's just kind of by default, if you're just good at and that's a big problem. It's we've kind of created these expectations that, and I've kind of fallen, I don't know if you'd call fallen victim to this or whatever, but kind of we've come to expect in Star Wars, if someone is good at something, anything, then they've got some force powers. It can't just be that they're good at something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. See, they mentioned throughout Star Wars, you can tell the difference between a Jedi and a non-force sensitive person. Especially in the Clone Wars, they mention it a lot. Let's take the episode Cat and Mouse in season 2, for example. Trench, I guess, would be the Clone Wars version of Thrawn, because he was a very smart, very intimidating separatist admiral. He was able to tell that whoever was flying around in the cloaked ship, I forgot what it was called, was a Jedi, and that's because the Jedi have this ability, and it's not even just one Jedi that has a force power that makes them better at it. It's literally just all Jedi because of their reflexes and stuff like that. They have Jedi reflexes. They're able to sense things before they happen. That's just a Jedi trait. As I think I almost literally quoted Qui-Gon word for word, almost. I'm original, I promise. But the words are true. It's a Jedi trait. It's not a force power. It's a trait. I think that's what they're forgetting, is that certain things can just be a trait for Jedi in general.
Yeah, it's like jumping high or super speed. I mean, I'm pretty sure they can all do it to a certain extent, but it doesn't mean that it's a special power they need to train years to learn.
I mean, what's next? Force jumping? That's just a specific power for people. Like Jar Jar is force sensitive because of his ability to jump high.
Or swimming.
Force swimming, yeah, that's a good one. Maybe he was under some sort of force tripping. It wasn't hyperspace tripping. It was force tripping because he was so clumsy and he was tripping all over everything. That could be a force power at this point. I mean, I don't know. You don't know what can or can't be a force power at this point. Like back when it wasn't under Disney, you knew what Jedi traits were. You knew that most Jedi were pretty good with technology. Most Jedi were able to fly things pretty decently, and most Jedi were able to jump or do like these extremely like difficult things for a regular person. They were able to do these things with a lot more ease. Now, it did take training, of course, and calling upon the Force, but it wasn't a specific Force power. So I feel like that's where we're at in today's Star Wars, is that everything has to be explained by a Force power, and I don't like that. And they try to make these unique characters unique with these Force powers that don't exist until they make them, or with just a common Jedi trait, but now narrow it down to just one person with a specific Force power. So I feel like they're sort of just they're limiting themselves at the same time instead of creating unique characters or unique powers. I don't know what anybody else feels about that, but that's how I feel on that.
Agreed. I there's perfect word for it. There's too much siloing in terms of Force abilities. I think they need to go back to where it's just you're Force sensitive or you aren't, and you might be stronger with the Force than others or not, but it's not like there aren't like there's too much like Force specialties. It's like that's not how it works. And I think, I think it's the combination. It's just there's too much to keep track of, and also it's like even like say going back to the Bad Batch, what I mentioned, how it kind of creates this impression and it creates this expectation that if we see some character who's good at a certain thing, then they must be Force sensitive. I definitely thought at one point that Omega was Force sensitive because of just she was good at certain things. And it's like, I fell for that, as did most people, because it's like we've been so conditioned, and mainly by the sequels, and especially, as things kind of escalated towards Rise of Skywalker, it was basically Rey was the one competent person and everyone else was just kind of fodder because they just didn't have Force abilities. So that if we see anyone who displays any kind of competence, we're like, Force abilities, or like it's like towards the end of Rise of Skywalker, how they were teasing kind of Finn's Force sensitivity, and I was almost kind of thinking, at some point, if they dragged kind of this if they made more movies, they probably, it probably revealed that Poe is Force sensitivity, because he's a good pilot.
Yeah.
And as much as I like the idea of like a Jedi Finn, I also like the idea, frankly, a little bit more of him just being a competent, non-Force sensitive individual, because we don't really have, we've had kind of a deficit in that.
Yeah.
At least at that point in Star Wars history. Yeah.
He could have been a Force sensitive janitor.
A Force sensitive janitor. He can sense the dirtiness on the floors.
He used the Force.
Is it a Force power to sense filthiness?
I guess.
It makes him perfect to be. Wait a minute. The Jedi Temple, it had to have gotten dirty at some point. I bet they had Force sensitive janitors that was able to sense Force nastiness. That's what I'm going to call it, Force nastiness. And
When you just said that, I totally pictured the scene from Fantasia with the brooms.
And they're just they're what I think of when I think of floating brooms or whatever. I think of Lego Star Wars and Obi-Wan just using the Force to sweep Kamino's floor.
Oh yeah.
That's what I think of. But I guess you can say Obi-Wan was the first Force janitor
Yes.
because he decided, what, I have to investigate Jango Fett, but these floors right here, as shiny as they are, they look filthy. Let me just somehow find the broom that they had hidden in this closet that I totally knew about, even though I've never been here before, and let's sweep the floors using the Force. So yes, he is the first Force janitor.
So that would make him a Mary Sue. He didn't. He wasn't supposed to know where the broom was. He did.
Oh my goodness! I just had a revelation. It's like it's just like everything in the world just stopped. I don't know what to say. I think I'm just going to end the stream here and go contemplate things. But honestly though, like, was there Force janitors? That's a question we need answered. We need that answered. And do they have a specific Force power that was that enabled them to sense dirt on floors?
I'm guessing the most simple explanation is that droids did all the dirty work because, as I recall, only Jedi were allowed inside the temple, right?
Yeah. Well, once the Clone Wars started, I think they let clones in there. Only in certain parts, though. And they had citizens. I remember. They had citizens working in the temple, too. If you remember the bombing of the Jedi Temple, I think it was like, what was the first episode of that? The Wrong Jedi? No, that was the last episode. The Jedi that knew too much? Maybe.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I don't remember the title, but yes, I know what the situation you're describing. Yeah.
They mentioned there's military personnel in there. And, of course, one of the people, actually the person that was the bomb, was a citizen. So even citizens worked in the Jedi Temple. But I'd say they were only able to work in certain areas of the temple. The rest was probably off limits to anybody that wasn't a Jedi or possibly a droid of some sort. It depends, I guess. I don't know. But
it doesn't really matter because most of their locks and systems work on the Force, so a regular person wouldn't be able to operate them.
Yes. So they probably did need Force janitors. The best discovery is the Force janitor. I'm super excited to learn more about those.
And since you brought it up, what do you think about the trailer we got for the Lego game?
Oh, it's good. It's amazing. I was so excited to see that. Where did this come from? I mean, I'm not disappointed. And no, you're perfect. Okay, it's not because you're a Mary Sue. You were just born that way. Okay. I don't know who's doing this. It's probably Commander Tano. I remember the geode thing, but if it's not, then I have no idea what's going on. And I'm very happy about it. I'm a very happy individual. I have Hauser's hair in my chat.
Hauser's hair is watching.
I love you, Hauser's hair. You're my favorite. You're the best thing that came out of the Bad Batch. Best thing. And I don't tell a lie.
And here comes the meme when Omega says, "Am I a joke to you?"
I need to make that meme. I can do that. I have the ability. To do so.
You have
but maybe,
ability?
Yeah. It's called Force Photoshop. Have you ever used it? I can manipulate. Oh, thank you. I love you too. Oh gosh, I love this. This is awesome. Hauser's hair loves me back. I'm very happy, man. I'm very happy, man. I'm a simple man.
About Hauser, I mean, he's gonna feel devastated when he knows you're cheating on his hair.
If I was cheating on his hair, that would be devastating to me. Like, I would have to slap myself. I would have to do something.
Yeah, you're never going to cheat on Hauser's hair.
I can't. It's like physically impossible. If I do, it'd probably kill me. I don't know what it'll do, but I'm afraid to find out. I don't want to know. Oh gosh, that's the highlight of the stream, for sure. That is my highlight right there. Does anybody else have any interesting topics to talk about besides random force powers that we can just create off the fly?
Well, maybe the one Soraya posted about the writer for Kenobi.
Oh, did we not talk about that a while back?
No.
I thought. Oh, let's see. Where can I find it?
The Discord.
Well, I'm trying to find it in the Discord, wherever it is. Oh, you mean the lady that also wrote Trolls?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Wait, what?
Hannah Friedman, I guess that's her name. Tried writing music, stand-up comedy. Now she's the official writer of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Her most prominent past works is Trolls, The Beat Goes On.
I'm
Now-
sorry, but like trolls.
Look, if you're gonna
Trolls.
pick somebody to write a top tier show like Kenobi, you need to find the top tier writers that actually have done things like, let's say, a previous Star Wars movie, maybe like an older one, not the new ones, of course. Let's say like whoever wrote Star Wars Episode 4 or Episode 6, maybe find them or a relative to them, because the trade is probably passed on. Let's not talk about the castings, because we know how that went with Episode 8 and Solo, or Episode 7 and Solo. I don't know if they worked on 8. They might have. But they need to find top tier people, not somebody that's done an animated musical. I could just see Obi-Wan right now singing about cutting down stormtroopers as he walks down an Imperial hallway in like a ship or something.
And like look, like we could be pleasantly surprised.
I do want to be pleasantly surprised.
I really good range that
Mm-hmm.
but trolls, they're trolling us.
They're literally trolling us.
They are literally trolling us.
I think they find us to be a joke at this point, and they're treating us as such. But you can't make this stuff up. Look at this. This woman right here. Well, if I can pull her up here. Nothing against her. And it's not the fact that she's a woman. Let me make sure I make that clear. It's because of you see my mouse here? No, you don't see it. Okay. I don't know. You might have seen my mouse. Can you see my mouse on the screen? If not, I'll just figure out a way to highlight it. Can I highlight this? Okay, yeah. Because of this right here, all that highlight,
Her most prominent work.
Prominent. Yes. And the thing is, I don't remember anybody really talking about Trolls that much. The new one. It was no Frozen. Frozen was not talked about forever.
I just remember like seeing commercials and like oh, that looks dumb, and then I'd forget about it. It's like, I don't know personally, and I'm curious how she actually promotes herself and her work, and maybe she downplays Trolls, but like that really once again, I really hope I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. But from the
But
comments right here, which most of the time it's a little negative,
uh,
it doesn't sound like it's going to be.
like it would be one thing if, like, say she had done Frozen, or she had done some, like, some kids animated movie that we actually all remember and was actually good, and wasn't, kind of these kind of like bottom feeder kind of ephemeral, like, summer movies that you take these, like, hyper kids to so that they can see a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, going to the movies, at least for me when I was a kid, was like a genuinely cool experience. Like, you get to hear it from your friends saying, my parents got to take me to this movie or so-and-so movie. And then you get your chance to go to a movie, and you can go and brag about that. It was something that you would want to brag about back if you're a kid. Nowadays, you can do it whenever you want. It's not as big. But
Yeah.
but bottom feeder movies that you just want to take your kids to, any movie about it, if you're a kid, will probably satisfy you for the most part. So getting somebody that wrote a kids movie that usually doesn't try as hard to cater to everybody, I guess, probably isn't something I would want on the Kenobi series, because of the buzz around Kenobi. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that Obi-Wan is probably one of the most important characters of the entire Star Wars saga. As much as they didn't want to mention him or use him in the sequel trilogy, they just mentioned him, and then they let Ewan McGregor voice him with one line in 2 different movies. And then they reuse Afraid and cut out the Afraid part and went with Ray to make Alec Guinness say Ray, which admittedly isn't actually that bad. That's pretty cool. But at the same time, it's they didn't do anything with Obi-Wan. And Luke downplayed Obi-Wan like he was partially at fault for creating Darth Vader.
And the other thing too is having the Ewan McGregor do the Obi-Wan lines in the Force Awakens, like that was also big trolling, at least for some people. I remember, once said, this is before Last Jedi. I remember after the Force Awakens, my sister and I were debating, because we figured it's like Rey has to be related to someone that we know of already, and we were between somehow Palpatine or Obi-Wan. And yeah, it just seemed kind of weird to integrate that part in her vision and not do anything with that.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I'd like to mention that Hauser's hair never got taken to a movie by anybody.
Aww.
I'm sorry, Hauser's hair. I really am. It's my chance. I'm going to take my chance now. I'll take you to the movies. We'll go watch Spider-Man No Way Home. That movie, by the way, I just got to say, looks good.
Surprisingly, yes, for current Marvel.
I mean, but seriously though, like, I get what you're saying, and I agree with you completely on that. The thing about now, I may have downplayed her writing skill. I don't want to do that. If she's good at writing, if she is a good like writer for the series, then I'm all for it. But if they're just picking her because she's a woman and not because of her skill, and like I said, I haven't watched Trolls The Beat Goes On, so maybe it's a good movie. Maybe the writing is good. I do genuinely want to believe it is. Which it's almost in a way sad that you have that, and you probably don't have to question it. Maybe a lot of people do, but some people question that whether the writing is good because of they chose a woman, and that's sad because women can write too. Women are good at it, but the thing is, they have a track record of always picking somebody just for the sake of picking them for whatever they are, and it has no regard to whether they are good at it or not. So it's not because she's a woman that we question it, it's because why they chose her that we question it. And
Yeah, this actually happened with Rick and Morty. I mean, season 2 or 3, I think, they, for some reason, they decided to go with all female writers for the episodes, and they were not bad, but the quality really, you could tell that they weren't as good as previous ones, and they would stop doing a lot of the crazy stuff they used to do for those episodes. So yeah, I mean, if they picked them out of a pool of people waiting for a chance on inclusivity or something, and they didn't care to check their skills, of course that's going to happen. You have to consider both. I mean, it's not bad that you want to include more women in a male-dominated field, but even if you are going to do it, you have to check if that woman is qualified for the job.
yeah,
Which is the current concern with this woman. I mean, we don't know her. I haven't even seen the Trolls movie, and she could be good. I don't know, and I'm happy that she gets the chance. If she does a good work and takes off from this, excellent for her. But it's concerning for us as fans because we have been struggling with Lucasfilm making the worst decisions for all Star Wars material recently. And the fact that they are going to risk that much in an inexperienced writer, with Kenobi being the big character you just told us he is, I mean, why would you do that? Why would you risk it, considering Star Wars is sinking? People are abandoning the franchise. And if shows like this turn out to be bad, more people are going to leave. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think. Oh, darn! I lost the thought. Okay, I've got it. I got it again. Is there an echo, by the way, on my?
A little bit.
I think it's fixed. Anyways,
yeah,
but
you could.
to kind of double down on your point, it's like people have been waiting for something Kenobi for a long time. Like I definitely remember when we were promised, like when the plan when there was the plan to have 3 spin-off movies, one after each sequel installment. We were expecting to finally get a Kenobi movie at some point, and that didn't happen. And I remember especially when Solo came out, it's like, I think, a lot of people, part of the reason Solo didn't do well is, we were all expecting Kenobi. It was like, I was expecting Kenobi. Why are you here?
Kenobi. Why are you here? Perfect quote.
It's true. That's what a lot of people were thinking. And so I think the fact that when they announced that we're not getting a movie, we're getting a whole series, we're getting even more content. I think people were justifiably excited and happy about that, but it's like they better not screw this up.
Exactly.
They because it's like, what's really nerve-wracking, I think, is that we've gotten indications from different, from The Mandalorian, from Bad Batch, from certain things, and certain shows, series being announced, that there's a possibility that the canon could be amended, or just split. But that means, though, that it's like the Kenobi content that we get from this show, like, that's probably all we're gonna get. There's only one chance, and and so it's just when you get news that, oh, the person who's writing it wrote Trolls. uh, and once again, some people have a lot of talent and they have a lot of range. They can write comedy, but they can also write, much, they can write, much darker material as well. That, some people just have, and maybe she's got that range and can do a good job with this. And the other thing is, it could be too that she isn't so much of a writer as she's kind of putting the finishing touches on a story that someone else has prepared already
Maybe.
and given to her.
Mm-hmm.
That could be too. And so that, but yeah, I'm just like, if she was put on as writer to like meet a woman quota, it's like there are lots of women out there who can write. Why go for trolls? Like, there's not just it seems to me almost like where it's like when you criticize, say, a casting or production choice, you're like, well, we had to hire her because she's a woman, and you hate women if you don't like her being the writer. It's like, well, you're acting like there's only one woman on the planet who can write scripts. There's not. You can find another. You can either find one who's written stuff already or just get someone new. Honestly, just get, you'd probably be better off. I think what I'm more curious, because I don't know much about her, but if she's a hardcore fan, then great. But if she's not, and she's more of kind of a casual fan, or if she's new to this, it's like I think you'd be better off. Ironically, just get anyone, just get some female Star Wars fan who's very knowledgeable about the lore, and just have her write, and she'd probably do a better job than, say, a professional script writer who doesn't know anything about the material that she's been handed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But I already have somebody in mind that could possibly write this. Just a little, I'm just putting that out there. I have somebody already in mind.
Now, Hauser's hair, like it's not like, is Hauser's hair a he or a she or a, like, what are Hauser's hair's pronouns?
He's probably non-binary, right?
I mean, hair grows on both man and woman, so hair can probably be gender neutral, I would say. I don't know.
Interesting.
So that makes
because as long as Hauser's hair's pronouns are not he, him, or his, then I bet we could get Hauser's hair in a writing.
Hey, look, it's not even just that. Like, it could be he, him, his. But if his skin is white, if the man that owns the hair is white, that's where you draw the line. No, this dude is not white. As much as they say that they've whitewashed the Bad Batch, they have not. This dude is not white.
I've forgotten all about that. Like,
oh man, I could go back and talk about that one.
I remember saying early on, it's been so fast. It was so fascinating to watch people's reactions to the Bad Batch. It seemed like kind of like you could tell who the fans were, like who was actually familiar with the Clone Wars and all of that lore, and who wasn't, and who just walked in. And it, especially with the Echo being whitewashed, it's like Echo looks the way he does because he was sickly, like and frozen. He was like he's basically frozen for however long. He wasn't getting like it's just I can't.
He had no vitamin D.
Yeah.
But he hadn't seen the sun in probably a year or so.
Yeah, if you were not getting that vitamin D, if you were not seeing the sun, you were going to get pale. Very
Yes.
pale.
Yes. I mean, that's sort of, and plus being malnourished, I would say, like not
Yeah.
actually being properly taken care of would also affect your skin color.
Yes. But yeah, just things like that where it's like people either aren't familiar with kind of the stories and lore, or they just don't understand basic biology. And yeah, that's been amusing.
Yeah. I mean, they even people at Star Wars said, "Oh, we'll just change the lighting in some episodes. We'll try to cater to you guys." Did they even do that? Like, it didn't look like they changed anything.
No. I think
I
they
didn't think
said
so.
that just to get people to calm down.
And then we heard nothing else about it. I mean, were these people just satisfied with the fact that they thought they got them to do it, or were they actually just coming up with something and thinking, "Oh well, it's not actually there, but we'll mention it anyway." And if they do something about it, we'll never notice because we didn't pay attention in the first place, anyways.
I think the people griping just got tired mostly and just moved on to some other thing, maybe except for one or two people. But yeah,
I mean, there was this person called hashtag unwhitewash the Bad Batch. Like they actually changed their name to that, which I think is hilarious because they dedicated their entire name to that. And they blocked me after I had said that hashtag unwhitewash the Bad Batch is a joke. And then I replied to them, I'm like, I wasn't talking about you, but if you believe that, I mean, I can't help that, it is a joke, but I wasn't talking about you if that makes you feel any better. That's what I said. I thought it was funny. But yeah, that was a fun time too.
well, it may indeed be a joke. That is the thing, because
True.
there
Never thought of that.
there are trolls do exist, and
As we can see on the image here.
yes, trolls do exist, and there are people who either either just for fun, or if you want to go like conspiracy theory level, like talk about troll farms and stuff like that. People who want to intentionally just sow discord among people and get them embroiled into silly, kind of inane arguments like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, trolls exist.
Yeah.
So it
Lots
may
of
be
them.
a joke.
It could have been. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the whole Star Wars fan base at the moment is just a mess because nobody can agree on anything. There's only a few people in the whole fan base that can say, like what you like, don't defend its mistakes as if they're perfect, though. I mean, and that goes for anybody that says anything about the prequels, too. Like, if you're a original trilogy purist, at least acknowledge the fact that the other movies can be liked by other people and they have mistakes, but don't defend them like they're perfect. Sort of that kind of mentality.
Yeah, and it's like I like the original trilogy. I like the prequels, but I can enjoy making fun of them in different
Exactly.
ways. Like, and I don't see that ability to make fun of the things you like. I don't see that in kind of the sequel fandom, if there is such a thing. I almost don't feel like it's a fandom because I don't think there that many you have some people that are fans of the sequels and can also kind of laugh at them too. There are people like that who exist, but I think a lot of the people kind of the people who write the people who are writing blogs and articles and have large followings, I feel like it's not so much they're a fan of the sequels, it's just they're kind of a fan of being a fan of the sequels, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it does.
It's more of just kind of a contrarian thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. I mean, it's more of a publicity thing for them than it is like them actually liking it. Like they are trying to be part of what they would probably call a movement, I would say, and think, oh well, this is the thing to be in, you know, and they'll defend it no matter what and act like it's just perfect. I think that's the issue, but we all know that it ain't perfect. I mean, except for maybe that, but at least for the Raylos. But if you can't make fun of it, then are you really a fan? Think about it for a second. Real Star Wars fans also make fun of Star Wars. Like you can't look at, let's say, Star Wars Episode 2 and not laugh at I Hate Sand or use it as a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can love the movie, but you can't not want to use that as a meme. I mean, I reference that almost on a daily. Anytime sand is mentioned, even to people that don't watch Star Wars or if I work with them, I will literally tell them that I hate sand right afterward. I'm that weird. Seriously, you go mention sand to me out of nowhere. I will literally say it.
So I guess
I'll never fail.
So I guess people around you must think you have some sort of PTSD thing with sand going on, right?
They'll never know why I hate sand. They'll never know. Actually, I do sort of hate sand, though. I really do. Like, it ain't even just because of the meme. My sister once threw sand in my eye, and it was one of the most uncomfortable things ever, and I hated it afterward.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So, I actually do have a reason to hate sand, but the fact that it's also a meme just makes it even better. Oh, man. The things that I do, though, with Star Wars, I love it. The things that Star Wars has brought us, like, you can't say this about the prequels. The prequels have brought us nothing but sadness at the moment. But the prequels, they bring you hello there, or do it, or, you know, I hate sand, or this is where the fun begins. And like, there's so many quotable things. And then all you have, huh?
It just kind of hit me like it's like that the fact that we actually have hello there, like that we've turned hello there just into a meme and you know what I mean? Like it's we've gotten so that's what I kind of love, you know, with the prequels we've gotten so granular that it's just if it's just hello there. Like it's
almost any line can be turned into a meme. It's wonderful.
You mean granular like sand?
It's wonderful.
Yes. Yes.
That's wonderful. I love it. Oh man, you can turn almost every single line into a meme. I love it. It's the best.
But you gotta give it to the sequels because they gave us They Fly Now.
Oh, you mean this?
Oh, they fly now! They fly now? They fly now!
The difference being that and that would actually make an interesting study if you kind of look at memes from, you know, attached to different trilogies and who created the memes. Basically, is it fans or detractors, whatever you want to call them? You know, I would say, like, in the case of the prequels, you know, most of the memes, they're created by fans. You know, it's like they're made by people who like those movies. The They Fly Now, that didn't come about because some adoring fans of the sequels, you know, made that. It was people who didn't like them. And so it's just interesting that you don't see fans of the sequels creating memes for those movies.
See, I've been on the like sequel memes Reddit, and it's like terrible. There's hardly anything worth looking at.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has ever looked at it. The prequel memes one is like pure gold.
Oh, it is, yes.
Now, there's a difference. There is a difference in the types of memes that you can make. See, there's memes making fun of something for the sake of, just as a joke, and then there are these memes that are like there to point out the mistakes of something because they're so terrible that they become a meme, and that's where the "They Fly Now" meme came from. Because first of all, that's not the first time a stormtrooper has ever flown in Star Wars. Maybe on screen, but in canon and in Star Wars Battlefront, which showed up way before Star Wars Episode 9, they had jump troopers in the first one where stormtroopers were flying through the air. People shooting at you while flying through the air. It's not like it's the first time you've ever seen a stormtrooper in the air. So that's part of the reason why it became a meme, because like they're acting like it never happened before, which is dumb. But besides my little rant about that, because that whole scene is just stupid. But that's the difference between the kinds of memes that people makes. Some are just for the fun of it because whatever happened was funny, and some is for just pointing out how dumb something really is and turned it into a meme because of how dumb it is. And that's what the sequel trilogy is mostly comprised of, is dumb memes. I mean, unless you're talking about Ben Swallow. Ben Swallow is actually a funny meme, but I don't know exactly if it was made to make fun of the sequels or if it's just because it's funny. Either way, it works, but I mean, they sort of deserved it. He sort of deserved it on that one. Okay, anyways. We got onto a rant about memes. Or I did, at least.
Now I'm curious because what you said, Commander Tano, about making a study, I can totally picture a thesis on memes.
Maybe I will go and get my PhD, and I'm going to, for my dissertation, I don't know what it'll be in, but for my dissertation, I will do that. But yeah, I was actually, right now I was looking through sequel memes, and once again, it's like, I find it fascinating how many of these entries in sequel memes, they're aimed at kind of defending the sequels.
That's
not
true.
like just kind of having fun with them and making fun of them. You know what I mean? It's like the I'm like, I'm done looking at this. It's such an insecure thread. It's funny.
All the people that joined r/sequel memes is very insecure about what they like.
It's true. That's the vibe I'm getting from this.
Like, I've not been on it in a while. I unsubbed from it or unjoined it. I don't know. I stopped following it, and I just went strictly to original trilogy and prequel memes. And I mean, because first of all, none of the memes that came out of the sequel trilogy subreddit thing interested me at all. If there was one or two, it was from somebody that really, for some reason, truly enjoys the sequel trilogy. But the rest of them are either bashing people from, let's say, prequel memes, because the prequel memes subreddit always makes fun of the sequel trilogy, they do it in a fun way too. But all these other ones are either bashing Star Wars fans that know what they're talking about for the most part when they say the sequel trilogy is sort of not good, or they're defending themselves with liking it. So, and I'm glad you confirmed that, because I've not been on it in a while, like I said. So I was thinking, hopefully I'm not wrong and I'm not just saying things just to be saying them. But I'm glad you checked that after I said that, because that right there already confirms what I was originally thinking anyways.
Yeah, it's just you go on prequel memes and they don't feel you can tell, like, they feel totally, like, They feel totally comfortable in their own skin.
Yes.
You know, they have no, you know what I mean? Whereas it's like, go to sequel memes and it's like they feel like they've got to
Prove something.
defend this
Yeah.
still. And that's the thing. It's like that threat. It's like been how many years, and it still seems they're still concerned with justifying their existence. Whereas prequel memes doesn't care. Prequel memes doesn't need to justify its existence.
The memes justify it for them.
Yes. Nothing needs to be justified.
No, if you want to make a do it meme, do it. I didn't mean to do that, but I did it. It just sort of, I really didn't. Like, I said it, and then I thought, oh my gosh, this is a perfect opportunity. How did I do this? Anyways, if you want to make a meme about, let's say, Obi-Wan saying hello there, or Anakin killing kids, which tends to be what I gravitate towards, then do it, you know? But
I think this is a good time to remind everyone that this is a kid-friendly stream.
And the other thing is, we can make better sequel memes than sequel memes. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah.
Like, we appreciate. I one thing looking through this, and I'm like done. It's like no. It's like I can make better memes than this thread. It's like I feel like almost I appreciate the sequels more than these people. Like, I appreciate there actually is some great memeable content in those movies, but I feel like they just don't appreciate it. They're just so busy defending them. It's like, come on, I want to see sequel memes just turn to just endless posts of like they fly now. That would be wonderful. You know? Just endless they fly now, shirtless Ben Solo, you know, whatever. Like, just there's so much good stuff that they could use, and it could be a hilarious thread, but it isn't. It just seems bitter and defensive.
Yeah, exactly. There's not one shred of comedy coming out of their memes. It's all just running to the defense of movies that they feel they need to defend. And that's sad, because if they feel like they need to defend it and everybody else is bashing it, why do you think that is? They didn't give you a reason in the movies to really learn anything about the world that they have created. So all the mistakes they made in those movies, people pointed out, and these people think, oh, well, I guess since people are making fun, we got to defend it because we like it. But why do they have to defend it? I mean, it's dumb that they feel like they have to defend it on their own. Like, everybody knows the prequels weren't the greatest. And I'll admit, they have lots of mistakes, especially the first two movies, though I will say I do love them. I acknowledge the fact that they have mistakes, and I still love them very much. And there's this thing where some people like turn a bad thing into a good thing. Like, if something bad happens to them, they try to use it to their advantage to make something good out of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what a lot of people with the prequels did. Even though there's a lot of negative things that you can say about the prequels, a lot of people have turned things like I hate sand into memes, which works in the benefit of the prequels, because you begin to love these scenes a lot more, and not just because, or it's not because of the scene, it's because of what can be made from the scene. Either way, you get good memories from it either way. So yeah. I mean, that. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. I just if they feel the need to defend it, then there is a problem. That's all I can say because I don't feel the need to defend the prequels. I wholeheartedly agree that they have issues.
It's part of the charm.
Yes, exactly. That's part of the charm. Now, if people weren't so defensive about the sequel trilogy and didn't act like it was the bestest ever, as some would say, then I'd say there wouldn't be as much pushback against the sequel trilogy. But it's the fact that they've defended it so hard, acting like it's perfect. I think that's what's really created a lot of the hate for it.
Yep.
I mean, you know how like a rebellious kid, like the more you try to push them to do something that they don't want to do, the more they will begin to hate that one particular thing, even if it's literally just eating something healthy.
Yep.
They'll never eat it. They will never do it. They'll never accept it because they were pushed to do it against their will. They'll begin to hate it. And that's, I think, what's happened with the sequel trilogy, mainly because they defended it too hard and didn't acknowledge that it has mistakes. And still don't.
And it would be fine if they defended it for what it is, but they defend it for what they want it to be, which is not. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
When we fight back, when they're trying to gaslight characters, like the whole thing with Luke that you just showed us, it's because we know it's not true.
Yep.
But in their case, they're trying to justify Rey being what the people who wrote the script made her be. Like, oh, no, she's not a Mary Sue. She clearly is. Acknowledge the fact that she is, say you like it, and that's it. You don't have to convince us that she isn't.
Yeah. You know, I want a rematch between Luke and Rey, and this time Luke actually tried to beat her because there's no possible way he was trying to fight her. Like, he messed with her a couple times in episode 8, but when she pulled out his lightsaber, he could have literally just force yanked it out of her hand. Or he could have done what her and Kylo kept doing multiple times throughout their final fight in episode 9 and just holding it in place. You know, Luke is supposed to be the most powerful Jedi at that point. Luke should not have lost that battle. He shouldn't have went down on the stairs and basically just cowered to her.
But you're missing the point. You can't elevate and support women without, making men look bad and dumb. Women are so incompetent that we need men to be even more incompetent for us to seem competent.
Well, see, that requires the man to do something, though. It's sort of a it's a double-edged sword because they're acting like they're breaking down the man, but they're requiring the man to do something in order for them to bring the woman up. If it means breaking the man down.
Stop mansplaining all this. Just.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm sorry. I guess this is how it works now. I'm handing over the channel to Commander Tano, so see you guys later. Yep, bye.
Wow.
Okay, so that happened.
What are you talking about? I'm not the host anymore. I'm just here. She invited me on as a guest.
To look bad so she can look better.
That's not how it's supposed to work, though. That's wrong. You're not supposed to just hand it over to me. I'm supposed to start like a whole. No, yeah. I am supposed to start like get all my followers to protest and demand you step down, and you're supposed to be like, no, I'll never step down, and then you need to be bullied into stepping down. You can't just willingly do this. There has to be some avarice.
Dang it! I still do everything. I guess it's because I'm a guy, but I mean, I'm still doing everything wrong. Dang it!
Yeah. You're not even relinquishing power the right way. It's supposed to. I'm supposed to defeat you. You can't just give it to me.
I guess I see where you're going with this, and I'll do better next time. Please don't kill me. I love this. It's fun.
It's like the Mandalorian. It's like with the Darksaber when he just walks in and happens to have the Darksaber and Bo-Katan's like well, and he's like just like here, just take it, and that's not right. You were like trying to just hand me the Darksaber, and no, that's not how it works. I have to kill you for the Darksaber. You can't just give it to me willingly.
Well, why do you think she didn't go up against Sabine though?
Unless you're a woman, you could, because Sabine did. She gave it up.
Exactly.
That's okay. Women can do that, but men have to be killed.
Oh man, that just reminded me of something too. Let's see if I can find it real quick. There was like this. I don't know if it was a TikTok or whatever, but I was on Twitter today. I've been on it a lot today. I was on Twitter today, and I was looking through some things, and I seen this video of a woman with white hair saying that there should be death to all men. She's tired of being a baby factory and bringing more men into the world. So they said that. So she said that they should go kill all men and kill all baby males. That was a real video. I watched.
That's a real video.
Yes, if I can find it, I'll show you. But I don't know if I can find it on my computer. I'll have to probably put it on my phone or something. But it was a legit video. I seen it, and they were saying death to all men, and or they one woman, I guess a feminist. I think that's what it said in the thing. And she was saying that all baby males should be killed as well. They don't want any more males in the world. She's like, I'm tired of being a baby factory and bringing more males because they'll be like my future oppressor or something like that. I'm like, okay. This woman is clearly out of her mind. She wants the race to live on, but she wants to kill like the other the half that they need.
Yeah. How are you going to accomplish that? Like
not to be the bearer of bad news, but or not to be sexist either, but women need men to create babies.
There it is. There's
misogynist.
Yeah, I knew it was going to happen. Dang it! I knew it was going to happen.
Like, well, how is this going to work? Or is it like she's going to have maybe some system where it's like women give birth to men, but kind of and raise them just so that they're old enough so that they can have kids and then kill them off, or like what?
Or they'll just keep trying until they get a girl and then get rid of them.
Okay.
Actually, I don't even think there's a plan. I mean, these people clearly don't know how the world works or how biology works. So whenever they say those stupid things, they're not even thinking about the outcome.
I mean, do they even know how chromosomes work and sperm cells and all that junk? I can explain it. I can do a fun facts with Shade like we do with Sir AOA if you guys want me to. Like, apparently we need to explain science to these people.
Should we do like have like a special series like Force Collective Sex Ed? Like,
apparently we have to tell them how this stuff works because either their parents didn't tell them when they were young, or they've come up with their own science thinking they're gods of their own fate and think, oh, I can change this with the snap of my finger like Thanos.
It's like if you had told me maybe a few years ago that, oh, there are going to be people like this who say these things, I would have been like, no. Like, they must understand biology. But I do kind of wonder, like, I guess there's some of them maybe it's just people who they do understand biology and they're just being inconsistent. But I kind of wonder if there's some who just don't understand that and haven't learned that.
I'm not laughing at you.
No, it should be laughed at. It's like
I was laughing at something else, but that's also funny. But I just looked at my Twitter account because I'm still looking for that, and I just found Hauser's hair following me. And they put up a poll asking me if Hauser's hair is dead, and I said no, of course, because Hauser's hair doesn't die. It's using Kajik Haircare. It's impossible to kill that hair. Go
yeah,
ahead.
we need answers for this.
Yes, exactly. But go ahead and continue what you were saying, because I didn't mean to interrupt with my loud, awesome laughter.
That was something that was worth interrupting. Yeah, that was all I was gonna say. But yeah, so yeah,
Yeah. A lot of
Hauser's
yes.
hair. Is Hauser's hair dead? You
And
need to know.
yeah, we do need to know that. I put no, of course, but somebody put yes. And I completely disagree with that person.
Well, maybe you should have put yes, so that way it will end up being no.
Well, that might work for you, but I'm usually the one with the prediction powers that gets it right. Remember?
Yeah, true.
You're the
I
anti-prediction.
just feel like for something as critical as this, like Hauser's hair, like you want to make sure that you've got as many, that you've got as many cards in your hand. You know what I mean? Like, so I almost would, even for you, I would probably recommend just saying yes, Hauser's hair is dead, and then that will ensure that Hauser's hair is alive.
True.
You could just say yes and wish about it like you wish on rebellion, and then you would get exactly the opposite result.
True. Maybe. By the way, I found that video, but it's on my phone, so I'm just going to play the audio over my mic. Hopefully, you guys will be able to understand it. But this is what I heard today, and it's so disturbing to hear people talk like this. I'll send it in the Discord so you can watch the actual video. Which, real quick, if you haven't joined the Discord, you should join it. There's a link to it in the description down below, people. You can join the Discord. Hauser's hair, I expect to see you in there. If you're still here, I expect to see you in there. Okay. Anyways, so here's the audio or the video. Let's see. Will it play or is...
We need to kill all men. I am sick of being a baby factory that produces more men that will just, in the future, subjugate me. So the only answer to that is to kill male babies and just kill any man that you see, like in the streets, like any...
I'm sorry.
Oh, that wasn't it. It paused for some reason. Here we go.
Just kill him. Because we want the species to go on.
We want the species to go on. That makes no sense. Do I have to explain how biology works? Do I really have to do that? I can show how smart I am. I went through biology. So,
But Shade, we want the species to go on.
yes, with only 23 chromosomes. That doesn't work. There's supposed to be 64, right?
I guess the question is, could you explain it to her?
46.
Is capable of
46. I almost got my math wrong. Yeah, apparently, you can only go with females in the world. Like, nothing against females. Females are cool. I know a lot of them. But, wait, that sounds really weird. But point standing, you still need men to create more. It's not like certain types of animals or bacteria in like the ocean or something like that who can somehow reproduce with themselves. No, we require a second person of the opposite gender, which is
No. Opposite sex, please. You're gonna get trashed because gender is a social construct.
Oh, it's a social construct. Dang it! I'm really behind, ain't I? Okay, the opposite sex. So each person, male and female, have 23 chromosomes in their sperm cells, and their normal chromosomes or they have normally like 46 chromosomes in like their normal cells, if I'm remembering everything correctly. You can't put two male ones together and expect it to work. That doesn't work. You can't put two female ones together. That doesn't work. It has to be a male and a female. Otherwise, they don't form a cell within, the egg. Do I have to really explain this to people? It's sad. Science lessons with Shade. Come back for more.
Shade explains the formation of a zygote.
Exactly. Maybe in a less sophisticated way, because I'm not exactly the smartest person in the world, but I still know a thing or two about science, and I'm proud of it. But anyways,
they're going to reply with the video of that couple where the man quotes is pregnant, and they're going to tell you you're wrong.
I don't see how that works. There are genetic mutations, yes, but I don't see how that works. Now, given I'm not, like I said, the smartest person when it comes to science, but this is one of those things that I remember very well that they talked a lot about during our biology classes that we had back then. And, we talked a lot about cells and all that stuff. So when we got to that stuff, they talked a lot about it too, and talked about how many chromosomes we have in our body and all that stuff, or in each cell in our body.
Biology 101. Look, Biology 101, that's just another word for bigotry 101.
You're just changing out a few of the letters. They disguise the word on purpose to hopefully throw off people, to make them think that they're not bigoted, but you saw right through it. I mean, you are a Mary Sue after all. You Mary Sue everything.
Yep.
So of course you would find out.
I've seen through science, lies of science and its bigotry. Science is bigoted.
I see through the lies of the science. I do not fear the social constructs like you do. No, that's not how it would go. I do not fear the. You know what? I'm going to quit. I'm going to make myself sound stupid. I was trying to make a reference if you didn't know, but you probably did. I mean, we're here for Star Wars for a reason. We all know these things. We've really went off to just random stuff at this point, haven't we?
Yeah, a bit. So business as usual?
Yeah, business as usual. I'm glad everything went as not planned.
That's not bad.
I mean, if it were planned, that would be one thing. But the thing is, whenever I plan things, usually it doesn't go completely as planned, and which I didn't plan the stream. I just sort of came up with a lot of the stuff off the fly. But yeah, it's like usual. So let's see. I got like a comment in the chat here. We have. Oh, okay. We have. I love Hazard's hair. I really do. Anyways, after I got done gazing at the image on the screen there, I decided that I am going to end the stream because it's been almost 2 hours and 30 minutes. And honestly, I want to save some topics for next time around because I have a feeling that, since we've already, talked about the Bad Batch, we really don't have exactly that much at the moment to talk about. So I'm thinking that maybe, and I don't know how you guys feel, maybe a Legends stream. We talk about Star Wars Legends if you guys want to talk about that next time around. I'm excited to talk about it because I've been, like I've said, reading Heir to the Empire, and it's very good. I mean, even if you don't have time to read, maybe you get the audiobook on Audible, if you have Audible. The guy that reads it is really good too.
Good to know.
Yeah, he's pretty good. They even play some Star Wars music and sound effects and stuff like that through it. It's pretty interesting. I really enjoy it. I mean, when I don't have time to actually pick up my book, which I actually have laying around next on my bed over here, I'm like halfway through it. It's very interesting, and I see why everybody says it's the true sequel trilogy. And it's gotten me into like more Legends. Like I'm not playing that clip right now.
Yeah, you are.
Dang it! Fine, you convinced me. Hold on, where is it at? Where is it? There it is. Okay, so, but yes, you get to learn a lot about Wayland and stuff like that in this trilogy, which is very interesting. Now, I was going to mention this earlier and I forgot, but I was sort of leading into it when I talked about it. But I went back and watched all the scenes with Thrawn in it in Rebels. There was like a YouTube video that I seen it on. It was about like 30 minutes. So I guess they didn't really show Thrawn as much as I thought they would. They gave him 30 minutes of screen time, which would be like the length of one full episode. But actually maybe a little more. But there was so many references in Rebels to Thrawn in Heir to the Empire that I noticed. And I've not even finished the Thrawn trilogy. So I'd be surprised if there wasn't any more references throughout those books. I mean, they got his personality, they got like his mannerisms, all that stuff. They got that stuff down. Like the fact that he loves art and studies it to learn about a race and all that stuff. Rook, the gray creature that he used in Rebels, was also in that book. I think their species is called the Nogri or something like that. You get to, I think, learn more about them in the second book. If I've heard right, I've been trying not to spoil myself on things, but you learn about like or you see that like mirror into Rebels. Like they pulled a lot from Heir to the Empire as far as Thrawn, and move it to Heir of the Empire or move it to Rebels. They even mentioned Paleon, which is one of the characters in Heir to the Empire in the final episode, if I'm not mistaken, it's the final episode of Rebels, where it was where those creatures took his ships and like just went into light speed. Yeah, he was calling for Paleon, and Paleon talks for like a split second and then gets light speed jumped out into space as well. So they brought a lot of stuff, references from those books. So if you want to be able to understand anything with Thrawn in the future, I would really recommend reading those 3 books specifically if you haven't already. I mean, have you guys read any of them?
No.
I haven't, but I'm familiar with the plot. I need to.
Yes, seriously. If you have Audible already and have maybe like 3 credits, do it. Like just listen to them. If not, they're not that expensive. I think they're like $8 at the most on Amazon. I went to Books A Million down here though and bought them.
You mean credits will be fine?
No, they won't. What do you think? I'm some kind of Jedi waving your hand around like that? I'm a Toydarian. Mind tricks don't work and only money. No money, no books, no deal. And no one else will have a better deal on books, I promise you that.
Anyways, after I went on a rant about credits, I love that. I really do. I love doing that. It's one of the most fun voices I've ever done. I love it. But yes, I really recommend you read it. Like, I'm not even much of a reader, or I didn't used to be. It takes me a while to get into a book, and especially if the book starts out slow. And I just got to say that this one, like, I was already super interested in the plot as it was because I knew a little bit about it. And that might have had some effect on why I was so interested in reading it. But usually if a book starts off slowly, it's either I like try to get into it and be like, okay, yeah, I like this. And then I just like stop. But this one, which I haven't been able to read it today, but this one I've been listening and or reading, depending on what I'm doing. daily, and I love it. So I seriously do recommend it. And it's sad that I'm just now getting into it, though. Like, these books have been out since 1991, 1992, and 1993 because they came out a year after each other. And you'd think that me being as big of a Star Wars fan as I am would have probably gotten into it. And I've learned a lot of things because I went and looked up how many Legends books there are. If I'm not mistaken, it's not counting like comics or anything like that. I think it's 329. That's a lot of books.
Wow.
Yes. And which is, I think, also counting like little kids' books too. So you take that out, it might take about 100 out of there. But either way, that's still a lot of material right there that we have. And I personally count that as the continuity that really matters, not the current one. Honestly, I'm thinking that instead of calling the current canon just the current canon, it's more like Star Wars fan fiction. Let me put it that way. We got Star Wars Legends and Star Wars fan fiction from non-fans. So how that works, I don't know. If it's a fan fiction,
that's the paradox. Fan fiction from non-fans.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I almost don't want to call it fan fiction for that reason.
Well, yeah, that's true because sometimes fan fiction is much better than what they put out.
Yeah.
So, what should
call
I
it non-fan fiction?
Non-fan fiction? Yeah. Let's call it that for now until we come up with a better name or something like that. I feel like there's a better word describing what this is somewhere. I don't know. I just feel it. But anyways, Legends is the true continuity. I will defend that to my dying breath because I've really grown to love it so far. And I wish I'd gotten into it sooner. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that get into things late and I regret it because I could have had so many good memories with these things. And then I probably would have been even angrier at the sequels if I had known this stuff beforehand. But, it is what it is.
It's actually probably for the best, like for one's mental health to have gotten into that stuff after the sequels.
Mm-hmm. I guess you get like a better appreciation of it because you know what you could have had.
Yeah.
And well, since there's so much of it, like it's almost like they're just coming out with these things and I'm learning about it for the first time. So in a way, it's almost as if they're just releasing for me, which is pretty cool because it's fun to be excited about Star Wars, even if it is something that came out over 20 years ago. But still, it's fun to be excited to see something new that I haven't seen in Star Wars that is actually really interesting. Timothy Zahn, I gotta say, he's the author of those books. He wrote a lot of Star Wars books. He and Karen Traviss are my two favorite Star Wars authors. They are my two favorites. Karen Traviss did a lot of Star Wars books, including the Republic Commando series, which I haven't finished yet, but I've read most of the books to it, and I love it. And then Timothy Zahn, which wrote like most of the old expanded universe, I gotta say, he wrote a ton of books. Maybe not most, but he wrote a ton of them.
But they didn't write Trolls.
Huh?
But they didn't write Trolls, did they?
No, none of them wrote Trolls. Thankfully. Otherwise, we probably would have had Han and Leia singing about their twins that they're about to have. Which you probably already knew that, so I was almost afraid I spoiled that, but you probably knew that they had 3 kids, right? I did.
Yeah, we did. Well, at least I did. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, in this book, she's 3 months in with her first pair of twins, and that's the timeline, I guess. It's 5 years after the fall of the Empire, and they're trying to set up a new republic. And that's literally what the book is about.
And then Luke goes into force tripping and kills them all, right?
Yeah. I forgot to mention that part. I didn't want to spoil it for you, but Luke literally force trips and kills everybody. So, it's not a great ending, I'm just kidding. It's actually much better than that. But yes, I just wanted to mention my love for the expanded universe that I haven't gotten to yet. There's one particular part of the expanded universe I want to get to, and it's, at least in Wikipedia, it was known as the Legacy Era, which takes place about 40 years after the Battle of Yavin. And I'm particularly interested in that because I want to see what came after Luke and Leia and Han.
Yeah.
I want to see how the galaxy has changed once they're either gone or just a small part of it compared to what the new characters will be. See, you get so much with Luke, Leia, and Han. So it's not unsatisfying. It's not unsatisfying because you're not getting enough of them. You've gotten a lot, and now you get to see these new characters, like their children, move on in the galaxy that they had created for them. So it's got me very interested, and there's like a ton of books in that era, and I'm very excited to get into those eventually. I've got a lot of money to be spending in the future, and I don't want to do it, but wait, I know what I have to do. I just don't know if I have the strength to do it. See, there's a sequel quote right there that I'd like to use for the fun of it.
I would love to create. It would be so fun to create just an alternate sequel memes, like one that was actually good. Like I bet I could make one that was you know what I mean? Like
Yes,
like
I know what you mean.
because there actually is some really great memeable stuff. But these people are just so insecure and bitter that they don't realize it. They ironically, like, we can have much more fun with those movies than they can.
Exactly.
And they supposedly like them more than we do. Like, I don't...
Yeah, exactly. Now, a lot of people, and I've heard this before, not a lot of people, I don't know where I've heard it from. I know I heard it from somewhere, but they say that if the only reason why you like those movies is because of the memes, and that's a bad thing. And maybe it is, but at the same time, that nobody ever likes the prequels just because of the memes. There's some good parts in there.
No, that's the thing too. Is it isn't? I think most prequel fans don't just like them because of the memes. They are, even though they are eminently memeable.
Yes.
But it's actually I think there's a lot of pathos in those movies, and it's like I definitely like the overall plot of them. Like I like the music in those movies. I think is the best out of the three trilogies, at least to me. That was, and this is a whole other discussion, but big issue with this I had with the sequels is like there are a few things like music wise that are kind of memorable, but not really. It's like, and not to like whatever John Williams, but it almost is kind of like he was like just tired.
I get that.
It just wasn't, I guess I came in with prequel expectations for the music.
I did too. I was disappointed a little bit with the music, and that's not to say that John Williams didn't do his best or that he didn't do a good job in general. That is not the case. He did a good job. I do like the music in these movies, but I was expecting Star Wars Episode 1 and 3 tier music, and we got almost like a John Williams knockoff version of the original movies with a little bit added to it. And that's not a bad thing, but it's not great because it didn't feel like, go ahead.
Yeah, just underwhelming.
That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. Because I was thinking Battle of the Heroes or Duel of Fates tier music. Then we got original trilogy tier music, which nothing wrong with original trilogy music. They had some really good music. A Jedi's Fury is one of my favorite tracks. But if I had to choose between Battle of the Heroes and A Jedi's Fury, or Duel of Fates. I would go with either of those two over a Jazz Fury.
Yes, and the other thing is, it's like the music in the prequels, it was so good. Like, I'm kind of convinced, like, I think, the fact that, like, take a character like Maul, and, like, he had comparatively very little screen time in just one of the movies. And yet, I'm almost convinced just because of the music with that scene, there was so much kind of obsession with that scene and that character that we ended up getting, so much more content with Maul and the storyline with Obi-Wan afterwards. And that's just kind of, I think, that's just evidence of just how good that music was. And the fact that if you took away the music from those movies, they would be such different movies.
Yeah.
Whereas with the sequels, it's like once again, there's some memorable leitmotifs in there, yeah. But that was kind of it. It's like I didn't get what I got from the prequels.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely stuff in the prequels besides just funny memes. The prequels are very funny and are very memeable, but I think there's also kind of the more pathosy side to them too that they have that I just didn't get from the sequels at the end. I was just kind of the sequels. I kind of was just left feeling like numb.
Yeah. Like, there's certain tracks in the sequel trilogy that I personally really love, and I can't remember the name of it, but one of the tracks was when Finn was about to sacrifice himself. That gave me such Star Wars Episode 3 vibes until they abruptly cut it because Rose
And then
Tigo
Rose had to come in.
Yeah, she ruined that track too because she had to cut it. Like, it would have been so emotional. The choir come in, and it felt so much like Star Wars Episode 3, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're actually getting choir music in this? Because that was one of the things that I was focusing on, because there wasn't that much choir in these movies as opposed to the prequels, which had a lot, like a very prominent choir in the tracks. So that was one thing I really look for, because that also invokes some emotion, at least from, for a Star Wars movie. It's hard to not, I mean, if you're talking about the old ones, that's different. That they were done at a different time. But after the tier of music that John Williams had set with the prequels movies, you would expect something like that, if not better, with the sequel trilogy. And they decided to try to go the exact same route that the originals did, and do sort of more toned down music that didn't feel as memorable. Like, I can't even name one specific track from the sequel trilogy. That's the sad thing about it. The only one I can remember, like, and I hate it too, is Fun with
Fun with Finn and Rose.
Yes. I remember it because I hate it. Like that. It's not that the music is bad. It's what it's tied to that it reminds me of that makes me hate it. So that's the only track that I can remember, like, the name of, as far as I can remember right now. One might come to me eventually, but I don't listen to sequel trilogy tracks whenever I want to listen to Star Wars, unless it's the one at the end of Star Wars Episode 7. That one was pretty good. I just can't remember the name of it. But that one was pretty good too.
Yeah,
I did like that one. Like that whole scene when you seen Luke
Yes.
Skywalker, that felt good to see.
It
Because I
did.
thought Luke was going to be super important in the next movie and be a mentor like Obi-Wan Kenobi, like J.J. Abrams said he was going to be. But of course we didn't get that. He did. He wanted Luke to be a Obi-Wan type character for Rey. And, well, we see where that went. He became more of an anti-Obi-Wan, one that didn't want to teach or want to help the main character, telling them to go away. I'm just going to die here. Like, But anyways, back to the music. That whole scene, because the music isn't the only thing that makes the scene. It's also the camera work and all that stuff that they do. But music is very important, and I think the sequels lacked in that. And it might not even be John Williams' fault. He might have wanted to go a certain style. George Lucas let him do whatever he wanted to back when he was doing the prequels. They might have gave him some restraints in with the sequels. I mean, Disney is very controlling when it comes to their movies, apparently, as we know from what happened with the sequel trilogy. Kathleen Kennedy did not like certain directors doing this or that. Only the ones that subverted expectations the way she liked it was allowed. But yeah, I think he was probably forced into not doing the style of music that we were used to from the prequels. And that's sad because anybody, even the people that didn't like the prequels, can agree that the prequel music was some of the best Star Wars music that we've ever had.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I think that is like a good stopping point right there. So I'm going to go ahead and begin ending the stream. Probably at the third hour, I will finally finish my process of ending the stream, and then we will actually be off. But yeah, I do need to get off, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys for being on here tonight, and thank you Hauser's Hair for showing up. I really appreciated your appearance for sure. I'd also like to thank Sir AOA for showing up for the time that he did. It's been fun having you two on here. We've had some pretty good discussions.
Yes, we have.
Yep.
And I look forward to next Thursday, where we talk probably about Legends material. So maybe I'll have finished Heir to the Empire at that point. I won't spoil anything, but I will want to talk about certain things that were referenced in the Bad Batch, like Wayland, and maybe this time I might have a better understanding of what Wayland is, depending on if I finish the book or not. And like I said, I recommend anybody that hasn't read it, go read it. Timothy Zahn is one of the best authors I've read for Star Wars books, and I've, believe it or not, actually read quite a few. Anyways, that's all that I got for this time. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment. Join the Discord down below. We have a Discord. I post a lot of fun things in there. I was working on that Project Guardian thing, and I wrote down a piece in the Discord. So if you want to read it, it's there. I'm constantly working on it, so I will put new versions of it in there every once in a while, and you'll get to read through it and tell me what you think. I like feedback. I may not be the greatest at writing like I used to be. It's been a while since I've been to school learning about that stuff, so I may have lost my touch a little bit, but I'm going to try to get back into it because I really enjoyed doing all that writing that I've done lately. It's fun to create your own story. It really is. And I think that's why I'm really drawn to it, because I've tried doing it before. I actually started this project back in 2016. I looked at the history on it. I have that option on Microsoft Word. It said that I started it back in 2016. So that was 5 years ago. Actually, almost over 5 years. Yeah, almost 6 years ago, because I think it was early 2016 when I started it. So I went back and looked through what I had written back then and what I have now. And the improvements I've made are far better than what you would have read back then. So when I said it's been a while since I started this, I wasn't joking. I almost felt like I started it pretty recently, because I guess I hadn't worked on it that much, and I felt like, okay, I probably worked on it maybe about a year ago or so, but I'm going to say a long time ago because I don't know when, and it feels like it's been a little bit. It has been a little bit. So about almost 6 years ago. So the little thing that I left in the Discord is about 6 years old, but it's been improved. especially these last couple of days, I've been working on it constantly. But yeah, I post things like that in the Discord, plus memes, and we also have tweets and all that stuff that we look at. Just come to the Discord for the discussions. We have a whole section or category full of discussion rooms and all that stuff. So, join the Discord. It's fun. And you can also follow me on Twitter. You can follow all of us here on Twitter. But I am at TFC_Star Wars. And Commander Tano is at Lady Tano 501st. And then at Chrono CD. Right? Am I right?
Yeah, that's right.
Capitalize the C and D, by the way, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry?
But yeah, do you capitalize the C and D?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Anyways, that's it. I got a comment. I'm going to read it before I leave. Yes, Hauser's on Twitter. I forgot about that. Hauser's hair is on Twitter. How did I forget that? I literally just followed Hauser's hair. I'll give you the @ for that if you want to follow Hauser's hair as well. It is at Hauser Hair. HOWZERHAIR. Yeah, it's the official account for Hauser's Hair. They've only got one follower right now, and that's me. But we can change that. Oh,
Yes,
look,
we
it's
can.
in the chat. It's in the chat right there. It's in the chat. We can change that. Let's get Hauser's Hair a bigger following. Hauser might possibly join the Discord as well, I hope. Then we can have like a whole category just dedicated about talking about Hauser's hair. So, fun times. I'm actually going to make a category just for that after this stream. Anyways, you can tell them that's all. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you all in the next one. May the force be with you always. And I almost forgot the outro. Here's the outro. All right, see ya.
Sector.